Hey everyone, this is Lucas. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about diffusing situations. This becomes very important in both the business sense and the relationship sense, but can also be used with friends and with yourself. So I'm going to try to give you the technique and kind of explain it along the way, figure out why it works so well. And the biggest part about this technique is to agree and to then move on with it. Which a lot of people get confused because if they think that they're going to agree with someone, that they agree with their point, they give up the fight, they basically surrender to that. And that's not quite what this is. So agreeing with someone else, be they a partner, be they a love interest, be they a business partner, or be they yourself, is mostly about understanding that this is their point of view. For example, when someone says, I like, let's go somewhere extreme and say, all people from country X, Y, and Z are bad. And then you say, I agree, you're assuming that that means, hey, I'm on your side. I agree with everything you said, I'm on your side, we're partners in this. But that's not what you're necessarily doing. You're saying that I agree that that is your point of view. I understand you. I hear you. I'm listening. Right? I validate your point, even though I may not personally agree with it and may have a different point of view. And that diffuses situations a lot because most of the time, situations that become really intense are ones where people try to one up each other. They try to win. Kind of like two animals fighting for who's the dominant one. You're trying to control a situation. And especially in relationships or in partnerships, business partnerships, or even with yourself, this can become quite a heated argument that will usually result in a lose-lose situation. Let's say, for instance, someone says, your partner says, I think we're not spending enough time together. And that makes you angry because you feel like you've been spending a lot of time with them, you've been trying really hard, you've been doing all of these things, but they just say that. What you say then when you say, I agree with you, is you're saying, okay, I understand that this is your point of view, I get it. From your point of view, we've not been spending enough time together or not enough quality time, I agree. But I also think that from my point of view, we have been spending a lot of time together. We've been doing a lot of things, and so on and so forth. And to put this kind of into perspective, what this does is you acknowledge it, first of all. You acknowledge what's going on rather than trying to deny it. And you're actually listening to the words being spoken and analyzing them rather than just saying, no, that's a bunch of crap, take that out of here. That's not true. Because when it comes to relationships of any kind, a point of view is always just half of the picture. At least when it's two people. When it's three people, it's even less. It's 1/3 of it, and so on and so forth. You're not objectively true all the time. You're subjectively true 100% of the time. Because if you feel like you've been given enough, then that's the feeling that comes through. If you're feeling like you're doing a good enough job, then that's the feeling. And no one can take that away from you. But vice versa, it also means that whatever the other person is feeling is also the truth. And if your 2 points are contradictory, that sometimes makes you feel like you have to fight for your point to be right because otherwise it's wrong. And that's not the case in relationships. That's not the case in any dynamic. Both points, even though contradictory, can be right. A partner can, for example, feel that they've not been given enough time, while you believe that you've given enough time. What objectively is being given enough time doesn't really matter in this sense, because it's two subjective points. Now, when it comes to business, there's a little bit more objectivity, because when it comes to stuff like, I have done a good enough job, and the money situation or the finances or the clients aren't happy enough with it, then there's a different benchmark, right? There's an objective benchmark to this. But a lot of relationships are subjective. They're not objective. You can't put an objective on love, or on time given, or on value. There's no universally agreed upon rule for this. And in business, it's sadly often the case that even if there's no objectively or universally based rule on this, your boss kind of sets it. So you're gonna have to do what your boss says, or you're gonna have to deal with the results of the matter. But the point is, in any heated argument, when we come back to the heated argument part, it's always the case that someone wants to just feel heard. It's never about being right or wrong. That doesn't matter. We just think it matters because to be right, we have to, win the argument. And then we try and we fight for it. And that sets the wrong image into what an argument should be or what a discussion should be. It's not about being right or wrong, it's just about being heard. And if you're saying, like, I agree with you, you can still then have the rest of the sentence be about how you disagree with them actually, but it sets them up differently. It doesn't set them up in a defensive position. For instance, you might disagree with this point, right? And if you say this, Lucas, I disagree, you're full of crap, I might feel hurt. And I might say, no, but I agree with my point. How dare you disagree with it? And that then starts the fighting. That starts the argument. Because then I have to feel like I need to defend my point, and that happens either by countering your point or by being aggressive against you, so that I win. All right, we're going back to the dominance example in animals. But if you're saying, like, okay, Lucas, I agree, at least in part, because, you're right in this and this and this point. However, this and this and this point, I might still, feel a little bit weary about, right? I agree that might diffuse the situation, but I disagree with the fact that that won't instantly make me go on their side, and I still will feel like that it'll make me be on the back foot of this argument. My immediate response might be, fair enough. And as then the conversation goes on, the discussion keeps being civilized. But as soon as you attack someone or attack their point of view completely, what happens is they usually feel like more is being attacked than just that one point. Many people tie their ego, tie themselves to what they say, to the argument. If someone says you're wrong or you're full of crap, you can't just brush this away with, oh, okay, they just don't like my argument. Few people have that kind of mental stability to do that. Instead, what you're automatically going to assume is, they're attacking me. I don't like that. Go away. No, my point is right. I have to be right, because otherwise I will lose much more than this one particular argument. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to try to now explain this to you in ways to give you some more practicality to this, essentially. When someone says something, be it an angry partner or an upset boss, you're trying to diffuse the situation by agreeing and then moving on with whatever point you're trying to make. Right? This is kind of sneaky and devalues them a little bit, so be very careful with how you use this, because someone who's very attentive and very self-reflective will see what you're doing. And in which case, the important part becomes, what is the bigger picture? So in a relationship, in a loving partnership, this is something that can be when very well executed, can be a huge benefit to the relationship overall. When you remember that the relationship overall is about having two people that make each other happier, or about creating love, or finding love, or having love, if that is the main point and you have that always in the back of your mind, then whatever argument is there, you might just as well agree with. Your partner comes in like, why is the ketchup... Oh, wow, that changed the entire camera. Why is the ketchup bottle in the wrong cupboard? How dare you? You're right. You think the ketchup bottle is in the wrong way. I thought it went there. Doesn't really matter. We'll put it there because I love you and because that stands at the forefront. Interesting. Because when you put that, you can instantly see how quickly that situation becomes diffused. On the other hand, when you say stuff like, no, this is the right place, you told me this, why don't you change your mindset, why don't you remember it correctly, blah blah blah. What is your partner going to say to that? Yeah, I never said that. This is wrong, you don't remember right, just put it there, you don't care. You never listen to me, right? Etc. They defend their point. And it's the same thing in a business. In a business, if your boss comes in and throws something in your face, remember that underneath it is an emotion that they're having. They're feeling threatened by something. And you want to agree with them. Like, okay, I see you. I get you. I agree. However, yada, yada, yada. What matters most is that, we make money in this company. And I feel like that was a right step towards a direction. It ended up differently. I apologize. I know you're taking responsibility for this, and so on and so forth. By agreeing, you're trying to find their point. You're trying to put yourself in their shoes, rather than instantly trying to get them to see your point of view. I hope that makes sense. This is a little bit tough to explain because it works better with a specific example, but specific examples then depend on an argument and what you see for yourself in there. So you can use this in every way. You just have to figure out exactly what ways benefit you a lot without making the other person too devalued. And I agree with your thoughts. I'm going to try to use this as an example. I agree with your thoughts that this isn't the perfect rule, right? This isn't amazing. There are exceptions to this, and it can backfire. But if you use it right, if you just start to agree first and try to see their point of view before getting defensive, what you're doing is you're opening up opportunities for the whatever argument to go better and for you to be able to move on quicker. And if there's someone that you just don't want to have that argument for, just agreeing with it takes out all the wind out of the argument. If it's a bully, for instance, that says, oh, you're stupid. Yep, I'm dumb. Whatever you say, Jeffrey, whatever you want to do, see ya. And you just move on. That basically means that it doesn't bother you that much. Right? You're taking your own ego out of it. It's just words. So agree with it, move on. That can also diffuse very, very heated situations because they won't have anything to go off of. Most bullies, no matter how old they are, no matter in what frame they are, try to be right. It's a lack within themselves that makes them want to feel bigger than they are, and for that they don't try to create more self-confidence, but they try to push others down. And if you agree with it, you're like, yeah, of course, put me down wherever you need. Wherever you need, Jeffrey. If you think I'm a jerk, yep. I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm skinny, I'm shy, whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever, go for it, come. Let it all out so I can move on with my day. Again, that means you're taking a look at the bigger picture that's behind the scenes. And I'm valuable enough, so those words, whatever, they don't mean anything. So I guess the point of this video is, number one, to agree first so that you see their point of view. Because if you disagree, you're immediately putting it into two defensive positions, into who's right or wrong. And you're not allowing anything in between there. It's just black or white. And the second point is that by doing this, when you do this, you want to keep the big point in mind, the bigger picture, what's behind the scenes, because that allows you to focus on what matters. And that, in particular, is a sign of true leaders. Knowing what matters in the end, keeping the eye on the prize. Try it out. And I would really appreciate for whoever's watching this if you could comment below what maybe some of your examples have been of this, or what some arguments are where you may not disagree with this video today, so that I can give some more specific examples and really show you how this works in action. So please comment down below any arguments you have for or against this point, and hopefully I can use those then to make it clearer if you are interested. That being said, thank you all for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.